Barometer of my moods today, Mayfly, up and down, one among a million, one the same at best as the rest of the jigging mayflies. One only day of May, alive beneath the sun. The yokels tilt their pewters, and the foam flowers in the sun beside the jewelled water. Daughter of the south, call the sunbeams home to nest between your breasts. The kingcups ephemeral are gay gulps of laughter. Gulp of yellow merriment, cackle of ripples, lips of the river that pout and whisper round the reeds. The mayfly flirting and posturing over the water goes up and down in the lift so many times for fun. When we are grown up, we are sure to alter much for the better, to adopt solider creeds. The kingcup will cease proffering his cup, and the foam will have blown from the beer, and the heat no longer dance, and the lift lose fascination, and the May change her tune to June. But the trouble with us mayflies is that we never have the chance to be grown up. They never have the chance. But what of time they have? They stretch out taut and thin and ringing clear. So we, whose strand of life is not much more, let us too make our time elastic and inconsequently dance above the dazzling wave. Nor put too much on the sympathy of things, the dregs of drink, the dried cups of flowers, the pathetic fallacy of the passing hours, when it is we who pass them, hours of stone, long rows of granite sphinxes looking on. It is we who pass them, we the circus masters, who make the mayflies dance, the lapwings lift their crests. The show will soon shut down, its gay rags gone. But when this summer is over, let us die together. I want always to be near your breasts. The linen industry. Pulling up flax after the blue flowers have fallen, and laying our handfuls in the peaty water to rot those grasses to the bone, or building stooks that recall the skirts of an invisible dancer. We become a part of the linen industry and follow its processes to the grubby town, where fields are compacted into window boxes and there's little room among the big machines. But even in our attic under the skylight, we make love on a bleach green, the whole meadow draped with material turning white in the sun, as though snow reluctant to melt were our attire. What's passion but a battering of stubborn stalks, then a gentle combing out of fibres like hair, and a weaving of these into christening robes, into garments for a marriage or funeral. Since it's like a bereavement once the labour's done, to find ourselves last workers in a dying trade. Let flax be our matchmaker, our undertaker, the provider of sheets for whatever the bed. And be shy of your breasts in the presence of death. Say that you look more beautiful in linen, wearing white petticoats, the bow on your bodice, a butterfly attending the embroidered flowers. Death of an actress. I see from the paper that Florrie Ford is dead, collapsed after singing to wounded soldiers at the age of 65. The American notice says no doubt all that need be said about this one-time chorus girl, whose role for more than 40 stifling years was giving sexual, sentimental, or comic entertainment, a gaudy posy for the popular soul. Plush and cigars, she waddled into the lights, old and huge and painted, in velvet and tiara, her voice gone, but around her head an aura of all her vanilla sweet forgotten vaudeville nights. With an elephantine shimmy and a sugared wink, she threw a trellis of Dorothy Perkins roses around an audience come from slum and suburb and weary of the tea leaves in the sink, who found her songs a rainbow leading west to the home they never had, to the chocolate Sunday of boy and girl, to Cowslet Town, to the never-ending weekend islands of the blessed. In the Isle of Man before the war, before the present one, she made a ragtime favourite of Tipperary, which became the swan song of troop ships on a darkened shore. And during Munich sang her ancient quiz of "Where's Bill Bailey?" And the chorus answered, muddling through and glad to have no answer, "Where's Bill Bailey? How do we know where he is?" Now, on a late and bandaged April day, in a military hospital, Miss Florrie Ford has made her positively last appearance and taken her bow and gone correctly away. Correctly, for she stood for an older England, for children toddling hand in hand while the day was bright. Let the wren and robin gently with leaves cover the babe in the wood. Elegy for Fatwater. Lighting up, lest all our hearts should break, his 50th cigarette of the day, happy with so many notes at his beck and call, he sits there taking it away, the maker of immaculate slapstick. With music and with such precise rampage, across the deserts of the blues, a trail he blazes towards the one true mirage, enormous on a nimble-footed camel, and almost refusing to be his age. He plays for hours on end, and though there be oases, 1 part water, 2 parts gin, he tumbles past terrain, wise and thirsty, at the still centre of his loud dominion, the shouk, the sheikh, the sheikh of Araby. The Strand. White Tintoretto clouds beneath my naked feet. This mirror of wet sand imputes a lasting mood to island truancies. My steps repeat someone who now has left such strands for good, carrying his boots and paddling like a child, a square black figure whom the horizon understood. My father, who, for all his responsibly compiled account books of a devout, precise routine, kept something in him solitary and wild, so loved the western sea, and no trees green fulfilled him like these contours of Slievemore, Menon and Corachon, and the bogs between. 60 odd years behind him and 12 before, eyeing the flange of steel in the turning belt of brine. It was 16 years ago he walked this shore, and the mirror caught his shape which catches mine, but then as now the floor mop of the foam blotted the bright reflections, and no sign remains of face or feet when visitors have gone home. Between hovers, in memory of Joe O'Toole. And not even when we ran over the badger did he tell me he had cancer, Joe O'Toole, who was psychic about carburettor and clutch and knew a folk cure for the starter engine. Backing into the dark, we floodlit each hair like a filament of light our lights had put out somewhere between Kinnadui and Talabon. I dragged it by two gritty paws into the ditch. Joe spotted a ruby where the canines touched. His way of seeing me safely across the Doog was to leave his porch light burning, its sparkle shifting from widgeon to teal on Corrigan Lake. I missed his funeral. Close to the stony roads, he lies in Killeen churchyard over the hill. This morning, on the burial mound at Temple du Moor, encircled by a spring tide, and taking in Clunamana and Clagan and Corrigskeewan, the townlands he'd wandered, reading, tending cows and sheep. I watched a dying otter gaze right through me at the islands in Clew Bay, as though it were only between hovers and not too far from the Holt.